Hi, I'm Laura,
I'm Narelle.
and our topic was puberty. Puberty is defined as a period during which adolescents reach sexual maturity and become capable of reproduction. Primary sexual characteristics are those that are developed internally and can't really be seen. So for girls, it would be development of their ovaries, and boys their testes, and girls start their menstrual cycle. So secondary sexual characteristics are the ones that are visual. So for boys, they have facial hair, armpit hair, their shoulders broaden, their legs become longer, they gain more muscle. For girls, they develop breasts and armpit hair, and their hips broaden, as well as for both of them, they gain pubic hair. We chose 3 different factors and how they affect the onset of puberty. The source that I chose was from a peer-reviewed source written by Emily C. Walford in the book titled The Timing of Puberty, Is It Changing? Does It Matter? This excerpt from the book exhibited and explored different factors like obesity and nutrition and generational trends and how that affected the onset of puberty, but I chose to focus on stress. So the article talked about how chronic stress and significant conflict within the family can lead to early onset of puberty, especially within girls, and they noted that studies have shown that the absence of a father figure within the household, biological father figure, that should be noted, also leads to early beginning of their menstrual cycles. It's also evident that in low class or low to middle and middle class families, the stress levels can impact the onset of puberty, and Narelle will talk more about that. Also, the presence of a stepfather or mother's boyfriend can lead to earlier menarche, which is just the onset of a menstrual cycle within girls. Also, poor father-daughter relationship predicts early puberty development among other stressful conditions, including SES and nutrition and gender. So we decided, because a lot of the stress that we researched came from within the family environment, a good intervention for the child to help them with going through puberty can come from their parents. So it's important for parents to focus on their child's strengths. So especially within girls, it's a time when they may be feeling really insecure about their bodies, and so it's really beneficial to remind them that their bodies are capable of playing sports and dancing or whatever activities that they love. Also, open communication is really beneficial during this time, just to let them know that you're there. Studies have shown that the best time to have open conversations are within the car, so that a kid doesn't have to worry about making eye contact with their parents. Just having regular conversations with the pediatrician, but it can be very helpful. And also, being a parent is just your role at this stage, and give your child privacy because this is a very pivotal time in their life.
The article that I chose to do my presentation on is called The Family Anticeptics and the Subsequent Outcomes of the Early Puberty. I'm going to summarize all the information that I found in the article. The early influences of puberty on girls is the stressful conditions within the family. Boys is a different story. There is not much information. However, emotional distance from the mother could aid in the early onset of puberty timing. Studies have shown that the socioeconomic status also has a lot to do with the early onset of puberty timing in boys. And what that means is in low-income communities, a lot of times there is a one household parent. So most of the time they don't have a second education, like a college degree or some type of trade. So it's a lot harder for them to get a good paying job. And that is the issue here with early onset of puberty. Because boys worry about their parents as well as themselves not having a job in their future. However, girls do not share the same worry. there are two major factors to take into consideration, and that is the deviance hypothesis. And the deviance hypothesis is the deviation from what normally occurs in puberty. The second is the stage termination hypothesis, which means that the childhood phase will occur earlier rather than later. This article identifies the differences in the early onset of puberty timing between boys and girls. Also, the fact that girls enter puberty about a year and 6 months ahead of boys, which is about roughly 50%. So that means that 50% of girls, they enter puberty before boys, meanwhile boys enter puberty about 25% slower than the girls do. And the intervention that I chose to do, I remember in chapter 6 we discussed the home environment. The home it stands for the home observation for measurement of the environment. Although this intervention is used with infants and toddlers to test their mental performance during the first 3 years, I feel it could also be used to measure the puberty timing in adolescence. Like take a 10-year-old and a 10-year-old girl and a 12-year-old boy with a apparently benign variant of puberty. You can combine it with the opportunity for co-management by their primary care providers. We can observe them at 4 and 6 month intervals, assess whether there is a crossing of percentile upwards on the growth curve or a clear progression of sexual maturation. Or we could suggest that the adolescent see a pediatric medical subspecialist. The subspecialist should have an expertise in disorders of early puberty for an initial evaluation with their primary care provider as a follow-up. We could do the primary care provider could suggest that maybe the child or the adolescent see a endocrinologist or a specialist that specializes in bones and lab testing for serious hormonal imbalances. So that's the information that I have come up with. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Girls receive support better than boys. Boys have been found to receive significantly less support from classmates than close friends, parents, or teachers. Girls, on the other hand, are more likely to seek support from coping strategies, whereas boys are more likely to use avoidance or physical recreation as a coping strategy. Some research has shown that support from friends is related to lower depression and higher self-esteem for both girls and boys. Girls are also more likely to seek out other sources of support when support from any other source is low. Girls report they receive more support from peers than parents. And for boys, they report they receive more support from their parents than peers. People that mature early are more vulnerable to environmental stressors such as peer pressure. Girls that get their periods early, go through puberty early, show a frequent pattern of socializing with older peers. This might be explained to the girls' changing physical appearance during puberty creates an environmental of new social experiences, especially risk-taking behaviors such as delinquency and sexual behaviors for the girls. Early maturing girls are also at a high risk in context of those experiences because they also have a low level of emotions and cognitive resources compared to the same age girls who enter puberty later.